Hello, this is Roland. We're continuing with our discussion of health, spiritual health, mental health, emotional health, even physical health, but it all starts at the soul level. It all starts at the soul. See, there's a hierarchy. So the hierarchy is supposed to be God as the head of everything, then Christ, then the man, then the woman, then the children. You see? And in the body, the authority of the soul ought to be God. Okay? And then, of course, principle, truth. Okay? But what happens is that we defect from God. First of all, through anger and resentment. See, when you become angry at someone else, see, when you become angry, what is anger but judgment? Anger is the handmaiden of judgment. It means you've judged another person. Okay, let's look at this. Let's break this thing down because let's unpack this thing or break it down. Anger means you have made a judgment about someone. Okay, in your mind you've condemned them for some reason. Okay, so when you make a judgment about another, or you are basically playing God. That's why it says in the Bible, that's why Jesus said, judge not, lest you be judged. See, when you judge another, your judgment then is a condemnation of you, because the judgment is wrong. You're playing God. Okay? So when you play God, you have basically usurped his role. Okay? Instead of honoring God and being patient with others, in other words, not withholding judgment. Maybe you see error, but you don't judge them for it. You see what I mean? So instead you leapt at the opportunity to play God, to puff up like a snake, like a cobra. Okay? And feel superior in your hate, in your anger, in your resentment. See how that works? So you're playing God. So what's going to happen is you come in conflict with God. See, in the Bible it says, be still and know that I am God. In other words, be still and know that God is God and you're not God. But what do? We play God by judging others. So most people, what they do, see God as both a king and a judge. So people want to be worshipped, admired, acknowledged, see? And if somebody doesn't acknowledge you and admire you and worship you, then you resent them. And then you condemn them. You condemn people in your mind. So you're playing God. So what happens is you're going to come in conflict with the real God. So a lot of depression, anxiety, unhappiness, conflict, all of these things, worries and so on, a sense of uneasiness, comes from conflict with God, which we don't recognize. You don't recognize it as conflict with God. All you know is that something's wrong and you're anxious. Okay? It's conflict with God. So how do you end this conflict with God? Well, first of all, you see that you're playing a sneaky game of judging other people. Maybe on the surface you smile, but underneath you're judging them, hating them, resenting them. See? Your co-worker, people on the highway, your partner, even your kids. Now, when the dominant person judges, resents another, then it translates into impatience. See, the dominant one is impatient, and the one who's subservient, okay, resents the person who is impatient. So, if you're the parent, that puts you in the role of authority. Okay, if you are impatient, that means you're hateful and judgmental toward your children, then they resent it. Okay? So a lot of families are just everybody's guilty. Everybody's nice to each other out of guilt. They're so guilty for being impatient and resenting and hating each other, see? So you have to stop playing the game of judging and resenting other people. When you stop, then conflict with God will cease. And then, of course, you have to also then, okay, your conscience, which has been following you all this time, you thought it was anxiety, or see, it was your conscience. Now, what is conscience but the inner light from God? If you were still innocent, like when you were a little child, or if you become innocent by giving up your anger and hate and being sorry for your past judgments and hatreds and angers toward your parents, your mom, your dad, other people, your brother, your sister, and boyfriends and girlfriends and other people all along the way, you let go of all of that, then you will have peace with God. Conflict will cease between your soul and God. Okay? Then you'll walk with God. Like it said about Enoch in the Bible, it said he walked with God, or he was a friend of God. You can be a friend of God. I actually wrote a book called Becoming a Friend of God. Becoming a friend of God, finding peace of mind and courage in an age of anxiety. Now you would think that book would sell like hotcakes. It doesn't. Hardly anybody ever buys it. Why? I think it's too threatening. It's too threatening. Okay, but that's what we want to be, is become a friend of God. Okay, conflict ceases. Then your conscience, which has been pursuing you, the inner light from God, see, it catches up with you, and then it rubs your nose in your things that you've done wrong, like being phony with people and being impatient with your kids and hating your husband and things like that. You'll see that it's wrong and be sorry. Okay, bear the little bit of pain of seeing how wrong you are, and then it's over. Okay, then all you will have is a happy and blessed present. Okay, and then your intuition becomes present sight and foresight instead of being conscience, which is like 20/20 hindsight. See, I talk about this all the time in my books, my lectures. See, my meditations. This is very important. This is basic, but extremely important. So you got the idea? Now do you see what's wrong with judgment? You're playing God. Okay, which is not good. And other people seeing you playing God, they see you judging them, and then they judge you for judging them. So you become a temptation source, see, to them. So basically, knock it off. Knock it off. Okay. So I think I made some good points today. And you'd be surprised how much more wonderful life can be. The birds will sing. Okay, the sun will shine beautifully. When you let go of this baggage that you've been carrying around of resentment and hatred toward others. Now, yes, some people in the past have done you wrong. Okay, and now your opportunity is to forgive them. In other words, let go of the resentment. It doesn't mean you have to like them. It doesn't mean you have to be their friend. It doesn't mean you have to pretend nothing happened. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means that you don't resent them. You let go of the resentment. Okay? That's the secret. Okay? Now, anger. Remember, I said that anger is the handmaiden of judgment. So if you didn't form a judgment in the first place, you wouldn't be angry in the second place. You wouldn't feel conflict and guilt and anxiety in the third place. Then you wouldn't need your pills and your booze and your marijuana in the fourth place. And then you wouldn't have side effects in the fifth place. You see how that works? See how it all starts? With living properly, not resenting other people. Okay, so we live in other people are imperfect. But that's good. It's good that other people are imperfect. You know why? Because it gives you a chance now to practice being patient, meaning not to resent them and not to hate them. It gives you a chance. See, if everybody suddenly became perfect, you would never have an opportunity to practice. See, to make your new knowledge complete. See, what does it say in the Bible? Faith without works is dead. Okay, so so you realize that you have to let go of anger toward other people. You realize that. You see it, but then you also have to do it. That completes the action. Have you ever noticed how in the Bible when people would come to Jesus and he would heal them or something, heal them of their blindness or their infirmity or their being possessed or whatever it was that he healed them of, then he always instructed them to go and do something. Go and wash your hands, go and wash your face, go and show yourself to the rabbi, see, go and sin no more. He always told them something to do. Pick up your bed and follow me. Whatever he told them to do. Do you see now why? Because that completed the act. It completes the action. When they obey him and do what he says, that completes the follow-through of the action. So it's very important. So if you know what is right to do, then you must do it. Okay? So if you see that you were impatient with your child this morning, then you see that, you really see it. Then you go to your child and say, I'm sorry, I was impatient, that was wrong. Okay? If you were a little bit mean to your coworker, you said something behind their back, you go to them. You say, you know what, I said something about you to another person and it wasn't right for me to do that. I see that it's wrong, I'm sorry, I apologize. See, you make it right with them. That completes the action. See? All right. Well, I didn't read from my book today. I have it right here. I didn't read from it, but I did cover some important points that I think need to be said. So now that you've heard what I said, you can go to my website. You can ponder what I said and realize that what I said is true. Begin to let go of anger and resentment. Okay? You can also go to the website and check out some of my books or practice my meditations. I have a brand new free meditation. It's called the Easy Meditation. It helps you to get out of thinking. See, right now you're too lost in thinking. Worries, doubts, fears, planning for the future, reliving the past. That interferes with seeing things clearly. See how clearly I see things? And when you listen to me, you see them clearly too. But the problem is you go out in the world, you get upset, and you get lost in thinking. And see? So the meditation helps you to stand back and have this nice, clear way of seeing things and have it with you at all times. Okay? That's what the meditation helps you do. My name is Roland.